are listening to WHOA Podcast, coming to you from Gainesville, Florida. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the WHOA GNV Podcast, the Coronavirus Session. Right, I should make that like scarier or something.
Yeah, add some dark music to it.
Dark music in the background. As you can see, I'm back in the podcast studio. Got some lighting. I'm here today. Hey, Mike, what's up, man? How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I repped Upper Crust today. I went and saw Ben at Upper Crust yesterday. Got some pastries. They're doing pretty well. But I'm doing good. Still adjusting to this at-home life, but hanging in there, trying to figure out what the next steps are.
Are you gonna
What's
get
that?
Are you gonna get us fresh views of your apartment? Like your
Oh, yeah, we're gonna do Whoa GNV cribs.
It'll be so fun. Well, you guys, before we get into the show, I want to thank our incredible sponsors, APR, Advantage Personnel Resources. You guys, we're a client of APR's, and I got to tell you, these guys can, they can take care of everything, especially like on the HR side, the payroll side, workers' comp, employee benefits, like everything. But I got to tell you, like through this crisis, these guys have been rock stars. Rock stars. The amount of communication that I've been getting from Kevin and Todd and the team over there has been phenomenal in terms of just making sure that our company is set for this payment protection plan and everything else that's happening out there. It's just been awesome. So I just wanted to say special thanks to those guys. Highly recommend it. If you want to get the headaches off of your plate as an entrepreneur, these are the guys to talk to. Go to apradvantage.com. So you guys, thank you so much for your support of this podcast. Absolutely appreciate it. And of course, we want to get right into the episode. No time to waste. Let me introduce my man, my friend, Pablo from Rootex. What's up, buddy?
How's it going?
Good, man. So you're involved a lot. Why don't you give everybody like a 30-second to a 60-second spiel of who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so I started Rootex in late 2015, and it's basically a content marketing agency, and been doing that. We've been growing it little by little. We started offering social media management 2 years ago and different things here and there. And then about a year ago, I embarked on a journey to create a publication called Innovate Gainesville, which led to me having probably over 100 meetings in Gainesville over a course of 6 months or 6 to 9 months. And I had the chance to meet the marketing directors, the co-founders of so many different companies in Gainesville, and realize just how much we have here. And so the publication, due to the coronavirus, was a little bit delayed. And unfortunately, we're not having a launch event, but we're still thinking about doing some type of virtual launch event. So stay tuned for that. And it should be coming out in mid or late summer. So did that. Also helped start about 3 years ago what's now called the 161 Group. And we put on a lot of networking events. And of course, that's one other thing, there's no networking events, there's no events, period, anymore. And so we're trying to adapt as quickly as we can. So we just created our own show, and we're going to try to do virtual events. So our second episode is coming up tonight for those who are watching this. And excited to see how we can adapt as quickly as possible.
Yeah, Mike, give us the recall. Do you know what episode 161 was?
Oh gosh, it was not that long ago. So it was probably episode like early 90s, 92, 93. Do you remember, Pablo?
I actually don't remember, but that sounds about right to me.
Well, guys, that was like one of the hottest like episodes. It got shared up. So much energy in that room. I'm like, oh yeah, like 4 people on one side of the table, no problem. Like we got
a pizza delivery guy.
Pizza. Oh man,
that was so much fun. We definitely have to do it again sometime.
It was so much fun. If you guys haven't checked out that episode, go back and check that episode out. It was really good. So cool, Pablo. The reason we're doing this is because we really want to help our Gainesville family get through this crisis, man. This thing has rocked not only our community but the entire world, right? And it's been interesting because I don't know, maybe we were all just kind of like looking at what was happening overseas and just kind of being like, okay, like it'll stay over on that side of the ocean. I don't want to say naively, but a lot of us probably naively thought that it wasn't going to come into our community. And then just like wildfire, this thing started to spread. And we have the governor, telling everybody to stay at home. I mean, and not only in our state, but in states across the country. And, it's been upsetting. There's been a lot of anxiety, a lot of worry, just people really not sure what to do. Employment, unemployment is increasing by the day. People are losing their jobs. I mean, it's just a lot of craziness right now. And, and I got to say, I talked about this with Mike earlier, is that, we're trying to navigate this thing too. I'm not trying to be an expert on anything, because I'm not. I'm trying to save my own companies, and make sure that we get through this thing. But the one thing that I knew that I could do, and that Mike could do, is get on here and talk to our community and find out what they're doing. And hopefully by sharing these stories and sharing what Rootex is doing and what other companies are doing, what 161 group is doing, because I know you guys just started doing the 161 report, like how we can pull together as a community and save. That's my goal here, is to save as many companies as possible and to save as many jobs as possible. So how has this thing impacted you?
Yeah, so it's interesting because for digital marketing, if you think about it, there's more content being consumed than ever before right now. And so I've actually experienced like an influx of clients of work, but there's a dilemma because we're not able to do like any in-person shoots right now, or if we are, it needs to be like very like low key, like just two people, keep your distance. But so we actually haven't done any shoots. I mean, the last shoot that we had was last Monday, and after that, everything just stopped. The good thing is we had a backlog of projects that we were still filming for, and we had just finished filming right before this all started. And so now we're just editing some projects for clients, and we just signed on another client for social media management. So I mean, for me, things haven't really changed that much. I feel like I think Rootex will be able to weather the storm. And then on the 161 group front, like you mentioned, we can't do any in-person events, and so that's why we're doing the report now. And it's been getting some good attention, so we're going to see if we can grow that, and potentially down the line get some sponsors and stuff like that, and then maybe create. Right now we're looking at actually doing some type of crowdfunding campaign to help other startups in the community, because there are so many businesses that are just completely devastated by this. So just like like, not that my business is in a position where like we can save a lot of other companies, but we can at least do our part and try to help. So
yeah, do you know of any companies that have gone out of business locally because of
I do know about Evamplicity. I don't know if you heard, at the Innovation Hub. And I mean, they were, I think, the largest company at the hub. Like, they had the most offices of any single company rented out there. I think they were close to 40 employees. And, now all those people have to find other jobs.
Dude, the event industry took a hit.
Oh, yeah, completely.
Anything with the events is really, really hurting.
Mm-hmm. I also heard that, I don't know if you heard about it, Exact Tech supposedly laid off like 60 people over the past like 2 weeks.
It's so tough to see these companies having to make those kind of decisions, and I know, I mean, I know they didn't take it lightly, and it's, I don't know, it's a tough thing to see. So hopefully we can, keep more of that from happening, and hopefully this will help. I don't know. I'm just giving it my best effort,
Yeah, no, and I mean, I think there are some businesses where, if you think about like what Evamplicity did, there's just some businesses that like their best course of action is just to close down. Like, I mean, there's no events for the foreseeable future, and if your entire business model depends on events happening, then you should seriously consider, because dragging that on could only make it worse for you and for everybody else and your investors. And so I think, in some cases you just have to cut your losses and move on as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Mike, what you got, man? Mike, is Mike frozen? Mike's frozen.
Oh yeah, I think he's frozen.
Looks good that way.
At least he didn't freeze with like a super weird face or something.
Are you there?
He's moving.
Yeah,
Oh, there he is.
I thought everyone else froze but me, and then I realized no, it was me that froze.
It's you.
The Matrix.
Everybody needs to like upgrade their Wi-Fi now that this has happened. GR,
Right.
Seriously.
Fox has probably been getting tons of like requests to upgrade internet.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's funny that you're talking about content, you know, and how that content creation has spiked. You know, with that though becomes a lot more noise. There's a lot of content out there. I mean, what are you guys telling people in terms of like how to make yourself stand out during this time? You know, how can I make my message break through all of the noise, given the fact that the amount of content has gone way up in the last 2 weeks?
So you're absolutely right, but a lot of the content that's getting put out is, you know, like amateur level stuff, like people on TikTok, and that stuff is great and it gets a lot of attention. But when you're getting something professionally done, I think there's a difference there. And I think that, you know, this all happened so fast that a lot of the companies who are interested in putting out content didn't get the chance to, you know, start working on that. So I mean, you know, with my company, with Rootex, we always strive to like move the needle forward and try to make the content, you know, up the production quality and move it forward and make it look better and better. And so that's something that we're always trying to do no matter what. And so we're just going to continue doing that. And, you know, at the end of the day, you're right. There's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot going on. But, you know, if you have a great piece of content, it'll stand out, I think. So.
Mike, what you got, man? Anything?
Yeah. So where's the light at? Like, what have you seen in the community that maybe has been like this whole circumstance that we're all going through? It's been beneficial, whether it's been changes in the way we do business or platforms or things that you've seen in the community that are standing out. Is there anything that like just kind of resonates with you?
Well, what I love is the amount of support in the community for other businesses, and particularly what I've seen with the restaurants in town, with GNV Eats and this whole initiative. I mean, there's been so many business owners who have just been going out to eat and posting it and giving shout outs to these places because, you know, they're struggling too. This is really tough for them. So for me, it's been amazing to see that and just how everybody comes together and is supporting each other in this time of crisis. It's also been interesting to see the, you know, like people like still pumping out content, you know, like you guys obviously not going to stop. And then Elio has been pumping out so much content. And then, you know, a couple other people who are like reigniting different podcasts that they had a while back. So it's been cool to see that as well, because, you know, it's something that I feel like is a very important part of their marketing strategy, but, you know, gets left behind because so many other things pile up on their plate. And now all we have is free time, and the only way to communicate with other people is through, you know, digital content. So that's been really interesting for me. And I'm very curious to see how this is going to affect the long term, because I was talking with my mentor and he was telling me that this is something that's going to shift like the culture, like in the long term, like, you know, like who knows, like social distancing could become something that, you know, people will always like stay a little bit away from each other. Who knows if people are going to go back to like shaking hands, you know, with everybody they meet. I'm very curious to see the cultural changes here and how that's going to affect certain businesses and the dynamic of events and stuff like that.
Definitely. It's wild to think about. So is there anything like specifically personally for you or for your businesses that you've had to change and that you're going to hang on to if we get away from this?
So definitely the amount that we've been using Zoom, that's for sure. So I feel like in the past, you know, I would do like a lot of phone calls just because it's what I was used to. But now I've gotten a lot more comfortable with Zoom, and I'm actually very impressed with how it works and how efficient it is, how easy it is to use. So that's something like, you know, if I can't meet in person, I always love to meet in person. And I try my best no matter what, whether it's a meeting with somebody else or a meeting with a producer to work on a video. But now I'm realizing that, as long as I have Zoom, I could honestly just substitute through that if it's a hassle to meet in person or if something else comes up. So that's something that I'll definitely be doing. The other thing is the 161 report that we started. That's something that, we're in it for the long term. That's like, this is just the beginning. We did our first show last week. We have our second one tonight, and we're going to continue to improve it and just grow it over time. But no matter what happens, we're going to keep pushing that because there's long-term potential there, and it's going to be a big learning experience as well for us. So.
For sure. Collin, I think you're going to have to see if you can book the CEO of Zoom for one of our podcasts.
Their stock is down right now, man. I bought a share at $150 and it's.
Oh, you bought it high.
It's down at like, I mean, it was like 3 days ago, bro. And I bought it it's down to like 120 right now. And
yeah, because I think they were like at 70 or something, like 70 to 80 before it blew up. And it like it pretty much doubled over the past like 2-3 weeks.
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just like, I was like, oh, Zoom.
He bought one. He bought one.
Oh yeah.
Everybody's gonna be using this. Let me go buy a share. I actually, it's funny because I've talked about this on actually might have been y'all's podcast, but I've never been like really into the stock market and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I've always been like, if I have extra money, I'm gonna invest it in my own company. So like I've just never really gotten into it, but with, there's been extra time. I think that's what's been interesting. A lot of us have some extra time. Of course I'm working on my business, but like with it being at home and with there's not these driving between meetings and like all this kind of stuff, there's extra time. So I've been really, I'm gonna learn something new. So I was like, let me just buy a share of this because I want to I want to learn something new. And it's been interesting. And I know that they have, because of the increased usage, I think they ran into some privacy issues. I saw a report or something about that, but that's literally like a headline. I haven't read it, so I'm not going to go any further than that. But yeah, just gonna learn something new, but it'll go back up, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, no, I think definitely will.
But it's interesting to kind of see the companies that think about the companies that will benefit from this. I mean, another one that we were talking about was probably like DocuSign. A lot of the, I mean, we even as a dealership haven't really like dove too far into electronic signatures and that kind of thing. A lot of our interactions have always been in person, but I see a lot more electronic contracts probably coming into play. But you're absolutely right. Like there's going to be more of this. I mean, I actually see me being like, yo, Pablo, you want to have coffee? All right, cool. Like, let's get on Zoom at like 10 o'clock this morning and have, and talk to each other. And I've done that a lot over the last 2 weeks. And really trying to educate myself. Like, that's the thing, dude. I'm trying to educate myself on like how everybody's navigating this and what knowledge, that I don't know. There's just so many unknowns. And I know a lot of people are trying to make decisions. Entrepreneurs for the first time, there's gonna be a lot of entrepreneurs for the first time that are making their very first cuts, the first layoffs, and and that's like, I've never had to lay anybody off, and I hope I still don't have to, and but has the thought crossed my mind for the first time ever? Yeah, it has, and that's difficult. It's even difficult to talk about and admit, so it's just trying to hear and understand what goes into that decision process for people, how much data they're analyzing versus their heart. I've really struggled there. I've really struggled between the data and the number side of the business and the heart side of the business. I'm a very heart driven entrepreneur. I don't like to like be like, oh, the numbers say that we're going to be out of business in 2 weeks, therefore we need to go cut people now.
Right.
And I like to like rally the troops and be like, yo, we're going to be out of business in 2 weeks. Like, what's the solution? Like, let's go. Like, how are we going to get through this together? So it's just been super interesting to hear those different perspectives. And yeah, man.
Yeah, one of the things that my mentor was talking about, Marty, last week, because we had him for our first episode for 161 Report. And when I had a conversation with him one-on-one, he said the same thing. He said in his company, when they were struggling, in 2001, when the planes hit the towers, the first thing that he did, he had already learned his lesson in the 1987 crash. and one other experience before that. So he pulled all his execs into one room, and he said, effective immediately, he said, none of us are going to take pay. He's like, we're going to pay everybody else in the company, but not a single dollar goes out of the company. We're not paying any, any balances that we owe for other companies. We're paying our employees, and we're going to wait until, we weather the storm, we get through this, and then we'll start taking pay. But what he was suggesting for other companies to do was, instead of, laying off half of your staff, get all your staff together, through a Zoom call or whatever means you can, and, tell them, like, obviously this is a very tough time. We're going to try to navigate this together. And if we could all, live off half of our pay until we can see, the light at the end of the tunnel, then we don't have to lay anybody off. And I thought that was some great advice, because, instead of cutting out a few people, which could hurt the culture of the organization, you're kind of bunkering down together, and then everybody feels attached, and everybody feels like, they're doing their part as well to help everybody keep their jobs.
Yeah. That's really, really good.
It's a tough thing to do, but
yeah, I mean, just so I have a couple thoughts related to that. I mean, one of the first moves that I made was I went to our bookkeeper and I said, I want all of the automatic bill pay stuff removed. I was like, do not pay another bill until I give it to you. So I was like, because we had all these auto bill pay set up, just withdrawn from the account. I went and removed all that. So we're not doing that anymore. From now on, bill comes in, I sign off and make sure it gets paid. Because I'm like, look, if I have to delay a week, 2 weeks from, we normally pay GRU on the 1st of every month. All right, well, they might have to wait 7 days. We might have to pay on the 7th. We might have to pay it on the 15th.
And GRU can afford to wait.
and with that, like I've been encouraged by people, and I'm now encouraging people to contact their vendors and to, go ahead and have those conversations. Contact your credit card company and ask, for them to not charge you interest for the next month, for the next 2 months. Like what's it hurt to ask? There's always this fear of rejection, right? You hear about it all the time. Like, we're all going through this together. Everybody is suffering in some sort of capacity. And the more that our companies and the chain, if you will, works with each other, like, the better off we're going to be. And they know that. I've already, I mean, from my personal mortgage company, who, like, Wells Fargo has the mortgage on my house, I got an email from them saying, if you are unable to pay your mortgage, please give us a call. We're going to work with everybody. Like, we can delay payments. We can figure something out. You know what I mean? And so I'm seeing a lot of communication like that right now, which is good. I think we all need to have that kind of mindset. I've even, I'm doing like some social media consulting, and I've told my clients, is like, this month is no charge. Like, we're gonna, like, I'm gonna help you get through this in terms of my knowledge, whatever I can do. Just feel free to reach out. Like, I feel like I have to play my part there, and I know that they're going to play their part, and that's just going to, pass on. It's like, paying it forward, if you will. And then the other thing is, like, the transparency, in terms of the team communications. I think that's, what you were talking about with Marty is, transparency, right? Talking to the team and saying, this is where we are at, and this is what we have to do. And just being very transparent with your teams is how I would encourage that. I've been encouraged to, and I'm trying to get this set for next week, having the full team on a meeting, like a Zoom call like this, and just having that conversation and brainstorming and saying, hey, what's worst case scenario here? Kristen Hadid actually gave me this advice. She's like, what's worst case scenario? Let's talk about this as a team, and let's figure out what the worst case scenario is, and let's brainstorm. What are some ideas? And and she actually sent me, like, one of the things hopefully she doesn't mind me sharing this, but she gave me like 14 points, leading through a crisis, and she sent me these 14 points. And one of the big ones that really stood out to me was that if you have to cut once and cut deep, right? Don't play this game where you lay off, one person and then another person and then another person. And then, like, if you're going to cut deep. So that way it's like, hey, that's like a one-time thing. This is, let's eliminate that fear, if you will, by like just doing it one time and doing it deep. Which hopefully nobody has to, but if you have to, like, I thought that was super interesting advice. And I'm sure like one of her mentors had given her that. But like she shared it with me, and I thought it was really interesting. So, I'm for the first time as an entrepreneur, I'm getting knowledge exactly like that. Information exactly like that, advice like that I've never really even sought out before. Have you thought about that? Like, think about that as like our careers, like how many times have we like sought out advice on a situation, a matter like this? It's just never happened. It's always about like growth, and it's always about growth and scaling and culture, and like, this obviously it does have a huge impact on culture, but I don't know, man. I'm learning a lot of new stuff right now, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do these little 30-minute shows, because I was like, hopefully it can help somebody else get through it too,
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things we're doing with 161 Group is we created a private group, or I think it's a public group, on Facebook, and it's going to be like a jobs board. I know there's other things like that similar, but we're going to be, over the next couple of weeks, just looking, Google searching in the area, calling people up, seeing who's still hiring, because of course some businesses are thriving and they need help right now. Particularly a lot of warehouse jobs, interestingly enough, like of course Amazon is one of them, but I noticed also Chewy in Ocala was hiring for their warehouse. So I think it's important for us to see what we can do as far as trying to get these people who are losing their jobs reemployed, even if it's just something temporary for the next couple of months, because obviously they have bills to pay and families to take care of and stuff like that. So so hopefully we're able to make an impact there. But yeah, I think everybody's kind of adapting to this. My mentor was telling me this is something that happens, once every 100 years. He's like, I've never lived through something like this. And, this is going to be a very tough moment for a lot of companies, and it could be a defining moment for a lot of them. So it's, you have to be very, very cautious and careful about what you do during this time, I think. But
Good.
Yeah, it's a scary time.
Yeah. Mike, any last thoughts?
Yeah, it's all good advice, and just echo that. I mean, I think we're all just trying to figure this out as we go, and the tightness of our community, I think, is what will help make sure that we get through this with as few casualties as possible. Just because everybody, you got this feeling everybody's got each other's back. So we'll keep going.
Yeah. So Pablo, tell everybody where they can connect with you, where they can follow you, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so the Instagram, you can connect with us at 161 Group or at Rootex __. Follow both. We'll follow you back. And then my personal one is at Don Pablo with 2 L's. And Facebook, you want to follow or like the 161 Report. That'll keep you updated about all of our shows coming up. And connect with me on LinkedIn. Happy to make any introductions that people need or any referrals to connections. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
Yeah. And I know we talked about it in the previous podcast, but I mean, 161, has a very similar mission to us, what we're doing. I mean, this is definitely about building the community, the entrepreneur community. And, it's fun to be on this adventure with you guys, and always be bouncing things back and forth. And I'm really appreciative of the relationship we have with you guys, and just thank you for everything that you're doing for the community. So podcast family, definitely support them. And, we got to take care of each other, baby. We got to lift each other up through this, all of us.
100%.
So, and Gainesville, please support your local businesses right now. I know that the governor put out, a stay-at-home order, and, but I know that the restaurants are still allowed to serve food. You're still allowed to get takeout. You're still allowed to get that kind of thing. I mean, our Gainesville's cool. No offense to other communities out there, but Gainesville's cooler because we can actually take sealed alcohol home, order cocktails and all sorts of stuff that's happening. So definitely support our local businesses, and and of course, we could really use your support as well. I've been telling everybody, if you want to buy one of our really cool GNV BIZ t-shirts or one of our podcast shirts, just go to whoagnv.com and buy one of those. That'll help us, fund these episodes and support our team as well. And if any of you just want to make a donation, please feel free to make a donation. You can send me a direct Venmo at Collin Austin, COLLINAUSTIN. Or like I heard Joanna put like a digital gift card on our website. So if you want to buy a gift card on our website and send the code to somebody so they can get some podcast swag, that'd be really cool too. So just super grateful for your support. Pablo, thanks again for coming on, man. Really appreciate you. Tell the entire gang I said hello.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me so much, Collin. Really appreciate this. What you're doing for the community is amazing. And I know we're going to get through this together because we've got a lot of amazing people in the community, like what you guys are doing and what Elio's doing. And, we're really excited to play our role. And so thank you so much for having me on here. Really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Guys, this is the WHOA GNV podcast, the podcast bringing you businesses and individuals that make you go, whoa.
Whoa.
We will see you later. Bye.
Bye. Nice.